Sunny and warmer in Atlanta. We're at Turner Field, where the Dbacks tonight can clinch their first series win here since 2007. And former Brave Shelby Miller is back in town looking for his first win as a Diamondback. It's Dbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. And good afternoon from Turner Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. It's the Diamondbacks and the Atlanta Braves, the second of a three-game series. Your pitching matchup here today, Julio Teheran for the Braves and Shelby Miller for the Diamondbacks. Bob, he was an all-star on this mound last year. The D-backs hoping he'll regain that form here tonight.
Yeah, hopefully he finds that comfort zone on this mound here at Turner Field. Walks have been a big issue for Shelby Miller, and I think that's a direct byproduct of his mechanical struggles. Once again, between starts, Mike Butcher has worked very hard on his mechanics. Hopefully he'll find something that's comfortable and effective here tonight.
Do you buy the argument that maybe the mound and the comfort and the familiarity will help?
Well, I hope it does.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know what the trigger point is going to be, and certainly pitching on a mound where you did such a great job last year for a very undermanned ball club, maybe this will be the thing that turns it around for Shelby.
Back today for the Braves, it's former Diamondback Ender Inciarte. They were traded for one another in the offseason. Ender activated from the DL today. He's been out with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, missed 25 ball games. He injured that hamstring in the third game of the season for the Braves. They're glad to have him back. Adds an element of speed. We know all about Ender Inciarte. This should be a lot of fun tonight.
It's a reunion on both sides, and we are just about set to go here. The Diamondbacks and the Atlanta Braves. First pitch is next from Turner Field on Fox Sports Arizona.
Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Double Jack Burger today, only at Jack in the Box. By Papa Murphy's, love at 425 degrees. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money.
Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Chaz Roberts, Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz.
By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. By Tire Pros. For the best selection of Continental and General brand tires, visit your local Arizona Tire Pros today. By Oregano's. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run at Oregano's. And by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? Warmer tonight here in Atlanta. We are just about set for first pitch. The Diamondbacks and the Atlanta Braves. Shelby Miller and Julio Teheran. That's next on Fox Sports Arizona. Set to go on a lovely spring evening here in Atlanta, Georgia. The Braves and the Diamondbacks. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly, and Jody Jackson with you from Turner Field. After the D-backs snapped that losing skid last night, Chip Hale said it was good. Now it's time to get on a run.
Sounds good to me. And with that in mind, no changes to the lineup tonight other than the starting pitchers. Zach Greinke hitting in the 8th spot last night. Shelby Miller doing the same tonight. Otherwise, it'll be Gene Segura leading off at second base. Jake Lamb at third. Paul Goldschmidt down at first base. David Peralta out in right field. Wellington Castillo behind the plate. Brandon Drury with a solo home run in the ballgame last night. He'll be in left. Chris Owings in center. Shelby Miller on the mound hitting 8th. And Nick Ahmed batting 9th at shortstop.
And your Arizona Ford starter for the Braves, it's Julio Teheran, the 25-year-old right-hander who has always pitched well against the D-backs. This year, Teheran, though, winless in 6 starts, but he has pitched well lately. 7 full innings, 3 times already, including each of his last 2 starts.
Yeah, this guy's a pretty darn good starting pitcher. He's won 39 games over his last 3 seasons, pitching for some undermanned teams down here in Atlanta. Has a full complement of pitches, a couple different fastballs. His sinker is really an effective weapon for him. Also throws a curve, slider, changeup.
Let's take a look now at Atlanta. It's our Eye on Defense, sponsored by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Alex Smith out in center field. He'll be flanked in right by Nick Markakis and in left by our old buddy Ender Inciarte, just off the disabled list today. It'll be Reed Brignac at third base, Eric Ibar at short, Daniel Castro at second, Freddie Freeman over at first base. A.J. Przinsky will try to go more than a couple of innings tonight behind the plate, catching for right-hander Julio Teheran.
The Braves have had absolutely no luck in their own park this year. Their final season at Turner Field before they moved to their new ballpark a little north of Atlanta. They are only 1-13 at home so far.
Well, it's been a tough go for Freddie Gonzalez and the boys. A lot of speculation that Freddie Gonzalez won't make it to the All-Star break this year, which would really be a crime. I mean, considering the talent that they gave him to work with this year, knowing that they're probably going to spend some money, bring in some players in the new ballpark, to blame the manager for that is not right.
Sam Holbrook, the crew chief, is our plate umpire tonight. He'll call the balls and strikes. Gene Segura will lead it off, and we are set to go on a Saturday night in downtown Atlanta. The Braves and the D-backs. 342 and 4 homers for Segura. Gene singled, walked, and scored a run last night. Oh, 2. 78 degrees at first pitch here tonight. Very comfortable. A lot warmer than last night when the wind was blowing in. It was chilly here.
Tehran winless on the season, even though his ERA is 3.72. He's been really good his last 3 starts, a total of 19 1/3 innings pitched, only 14 hits and 3 runs. He struck out 20 opposing batters. Had a couple of rough ones to start the season, but he's been really good lately. This could be the night, partner. I'm feeling it.
Yes, one's coming at you. Be ready.
This is definitely foul ball territory.
Julio Teheran already in his 6th season with Atlanta. He's only 25 years old. Was an all-star 2 years ago when he won 14 games for the 2nd straight season. And he has become the workhorse in this rotation. Just away there. Teheran has made at least 30 starts each of the last 3 years, and he's coming off back-to-back seasons of at least 200 innings. Well, he was ahead of Segura 0-2. Now the count is full. And that has been his problem lately, Teheran. That control can get a little erratic from time to time. Last season his walk rate took a big jump up, and this year it's about at that same level. Center field right at Malik Smith, who gets all turned around, but he's there in time, and that's out number 1.
You can smile now because you caught it. Boy, that ball was doing some funny things as it got out there into center field. Malik Smith got turned around, but able to stay with it and make the catch. Good solid contact by Gene Segura.
Jake Lamb now 0 for 4 with a walk last night. Jake at 267 and 3 homers. Braves have the shift on against Lamb. They overload the right-hand side. Goldie on deck. They'll leave the third baseman Brignac in at shortstop, and they'll move the shortstop Ibar over to the second base spot. Brignac, the third baseman's got to be a good 50 feet away from the bag.
If he was any farther over in that hole, it'd be an I formation right behind Freddie Freeman.
And Jake Lamb goes the other way, left center field. That ball gets down, and it's off the base of the wall. There's that left center field approach that has been so good for Jake this year. His 9th double.
Boy, not only is he hitting the ball to the opposite field, but he's driving it. This is another one that just short hops the wall out there at the 380 mark in left center field. Saw him drive one to the warning track in Miami, right up against the wall. It was caught, but this one gets down for extra bases and a runner in scoring position with 1 out for the Diamondbacks.
And Paul Goldschmidt steps in. He'll move Malik Smith, the center fielder, more over toward right center for Goldie. who walked and singled last night. And they want Goldie more aggressive early in the counts, not fall behind, take some strikes trying to work the count, and be hitting with 2 strikes all the time like he has been so often lately. Great location there from Tehran. It's 0-2, and there's another 2-strike count for Goldie. Not much he could have done with that, I don't think.
That's a good pitcher's pitch right there at the knees on the outside corner. Might get lucky and dribble one through the infield somewhere, but you're not going to hit that ball hard. Mentioned Tehran, a full arsenal of pitches out there on the mound. Curve, slider, changeup. Those are a couple of different fastballs. His four-seamer has a little cutting action, occasionally working away from the right-handers. That's the one you'll see him throw to the outside corner for Paul Goldschmidt. But that two-seamer, when he needs a ground ball, double play situations, when he needs to keep the ball on the ground, that two-seamer's been really good for him.
Two and two. Goldie still leading the major leagues in walks. He has more walks than base hits this year. Go back down and away. He missed his spot. It's a full count, 3-2. He's done it again from 0-2 to 3-2.
If MLB is really serious about speeding up the pace of play, they should just have Goldie get in the box at 3-2 every at bat.
It's amazing, isn't it? He had 2 3-2 counts last night in his 5 plate appearances. Reached outside and expanded the zone, it looked like that time. Just did get a piece of it. Struck him out. 2 down. That brings up David Peralta.
Now, certainly not the result Goldie was looking for, but once again, we'll point it out. The fact that Tehran had to throw that many pitches just to get 1 out in the inning could pay dividends for some of the other guys in the lineup.
Like David Peralta, who's hitting .274 and 3 home runs. Had a big night here last night. Really hit the ball well. 3 hits and an RBI. He also scored twice. He swings at the first pitch. Hits it right to Freddie Freeman. Will take it himself. And Tehran strands the 1-out double. Shelby Miller back in Atlanta. He's coming up. Back in Atlanta, set for the home half of the first inning, the D-backs and the Braves. And your Arizona Ford starter for Arizona is right-hander Shelby Miller, acquired from these Braves last December after he pitched one season here. Winless in 6 starts with the Diamondbacks. The ERA right at 8.5. No National League pitcher has walked more batters this year.
Walked as many as he struck out in 23 and a third innings pitched. 19 walks, 19 strikeouts. The home run ball has also bitten him from time to time. And as I mentioned in the open, once again, working very hard on his mechanics between starts with pitching coach Mike Butcher. Hopefully they've found the magic formula.
They were very pleased with his last side session. The lineup for Freddie Gonzalez and his Braves tonight against the former Brave Shelby Miller.
Nick Markakis out in right field. Ender Inciarte, our old buddy, out in left. Freddie Freeman at first base. A.J. Przinsky doing the catching again. Reed Brignac down at third. Eric Ibar at short. Daniel Castro getting the start at second base tonight. Julio Teheran, the pitcher, batting 8th. And Malik Smith, the center fielder, batting 9th.
Nick Markakis leads it off. There's a strike at 92 miles an hour, 0-1. Markakis hitting .290. Back last night after missing several games to attend to a family matter, and returned to get a pair of hits in the series opener. Shelby jumps ahead 0-2.
Well, partner, small sample size, only 2 pitches into the game, but Shelby looks much more under control with his delivery, not as violent on the finish as we've seen in some of his other starts.
Chip told us today what they really want from Shelby tonight is just pick up your target from the catcher and let it fly. Here's a deep fly ball right center field. Chris Owings has it just shy of the warning track. And that's the first out. ARI on defense for the D-backs, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Center.
As I mentioned earlier, same way Chip lined him up last night. Drury in left, Owings in center, Peralta in right, Lamb and Ahmed on the left side of the infield, Segura and Goldschmidt on the right side, Wellington Castillo behind the plate for right-hander Shelby Miller.
And here is Ender Inciarte, our old friend, just off the DL today. And he's played only 3 games with the Braves all year. He's been out since April 8th with a left hamstring strain.
His first at bat in the 3rd game of the season.
Cost him a month. We saw Ender miss a month last year. He hurt his hamstring in Anaheim. Shelby throwing strikes so far. Ender activated today with rookie Malik Smith showing some signs of life with the bat lately. They decided to send Adonis Garcia to AAA Gwinnett and make room for Inciarte. They kept Smith here. Just inside at 94. And one way to gauge while you're watching Shelby Miller, if he's just, like we said, picking up his target, letting it fly, don't worry about mechanics, watch the velocity. If he's trying to be too fine and place the ball, it'll be low 90s. If he's letting it rip, it'll be upper 90s. Anything 94, 97 is a very good sign. And you mentioned that side session this week with Mike Butcher, Bob. They said it was his best one yet, the one in which he was the most consistent with his mechanics. He looked really good, and they feel good about where he is right now. And he's got a strikeout of Ender Inciarte. 2 up, 2 down for Shelby Miller. And it's time for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game. What do you have?
You're going to love this one. How Shelby gets his groove back.
I thought that was Stella.
Well, close enough. Yeah, ballpark he's had great success in the past. Very familiar mound, very familiar bullpen, and spacious outfield. We talked about it last night. 390 to right center, 380 to left center. A lot of room to bail out.
Freddie Freeman. He launches one high to right center field. Peralta's on the track at the wall. It's off the top of the wall and gone, a home run. Freddie Freeman, that's number 4. And it's 1-0 Braves.
Shelby needed it to be about 392 to that gap in right center. That ball appeared to hit right off the top of the fence, maybe off the fence, behind the fence, if you will.
Fastball up and out over the plate. Braves have not hit many home runs this year, only number 7 on the season. David Peralta thought he had a beat on it. It actually hit off the wall behind the fence out there.
And the Braves have 7 homers as a team now, and Freeman has 4 of them. Here's A.J. Pierzynski. The 7th home run given up this year by Shelby, and he's down 1-0. Pierzynski got himself tossed last night after arguing balls and strikes with Corey Blazers working third tonight. This is headed out toward Brandon Drury in left center field, and he's got it, and that's the end of the inning. But the Braves score first on the Freeman homer. They lead it 1-0.
The Braves left the ballpark. It's 1-0 Atlanta as we head to the top half of the second inning. Hey fans, a Dbacks home run tonight means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Second inning, and Wellington Castillo will lead it off for the Diamondbacks against right-hander Julio Teheran, who now has a 1-0 lead after the Freddie Freeman homer. And Welly checks in tonight just under 300. He's got 7 homers, which is the same number as the entire Braves team.
That's hard to do.
It is, isn't it?
Play a full month plus into the season and only have 6 home runs going into play tonight.
First pitch swinging, he rolls it to the shortstop, Eric Ibar. Well, when you're 7-21 on the year, they have 1 home run now for every win. And 1-13 at home here at Turner Field.
No wonder they want to get out of here.
Speaking of home runs, here's Brandon Drury. He got number 6 here last night. The one-time Braves prospect hitting an even 300. And this was another one, Bob, where he turned on somebody's fastball.
Yeah, he turns on everybody's fastball. Line drive home run, as you mentioned. The wind was blowing straight in from left field last night. Anything hit in the air got knocked down, but that was a laser line drive into the bleachers.
1-1 on Brandon. Originally drafted by the Braves out of high school in Grants Pass, Oregon. Played his first ever game here at Turner Field last night. Hit a home run. His 5th homer in 9 games. 2 balls and a strike.
I just constantly marvel at his approach, how still he is. So many guys have moving parts, bats waggling, legs are kicking up in the air, all kinds of things going on. He is just so still and calm in that batter's box.
Bounce to third for Reed Brignac. That's 3 straight ground ball outs for Julio Teheran, 2 down, and here's Chris Owings. talked about how it gets that two-seamer working. There'll be a lot of ground ball outs for him. CO at 259.
I was just going to say, it's not a big dive-bombing sinker like a Brandon Webb sinker or Derek Lowe back in the day. Those guys that where you can stand on the side and see the ball sinking. It's very subtle, just a little movement to get from the middle of the bat down to the bottom part of the bat and get those ground balls he's looking for.
Tehran pitched an outstanding ball game Sunday against the Cubs at Wrigley Field. 7 scoreless innings, gave up only 2 hits, and had 9 strikeouts. Prior to that, a hard luck 1-0 loss here against Boston. Struck out 8 Red Sox in 7 innings, gave up only 6 hits. So he's been tough lately. He's ahead of CO, a ball and 2 strikes. Dbacks faced Julio Tehran at Turner Field last August, and he beat him 3-2. Pitched well in that ball game. 6 innings, just 1 run, 3 hits, punched out 7.
I'd love to see CO get something he can pull into that gap in left center field. Alex Smith playing way over in the gap in right center. Ender Inciarte off the line in left, but there's a lot of room out in that gap in left center.
5 career starts against Arizona. 3-1, a 2.17 ERA. He's been a handful. Missed away, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Chris last night a double and a pair of walks. He was walked intentionally twice, hitting ahead of the pitcher. Another full count for Tehran, his 3rd of the ball game so far. It's 3-2.
Good at bat by Chris Owings here. The 8th pitch upcoming after a couple of quick outs to start the inning. Make him work a little bit at least. This could get interesting tonight. I've been watching AJ back there flashing the fingers for Tehran. Some pitchers will shake their head no. If you put a finger down, they don't want to throw that pitch. They'll just shake their head no. Tehran's one of those guys that just looks in, and then he waits for you to put down the pitch he wants to throw. And I think AJ's getting a little frustrated because about the time he's ready to put down the next sign, Tehran starts into his delivery, so you're never quite sure what's coming. Should be a slider this time.
He belts it to shortstop. Nice backhand stop there by Ibar. And he throws him out. That's 4 consecutive ground ball outs for Julio Tehran. He leads it 1-0.
Back here at Turner Field, kids are pumped up. Maybe a sugar high, maybe a little cotton candy to get it going. Braves lead 1-0 here. And Shelby Miller making his return here. I spent some time in the Braves clubhouse. Guys, he's very well liked by everyone over there. But one guy he was very close with, the catcher A.J. Brzezinski. They go back actually to the end of the 2014 season with the Cardinals when Yadier Molina was injured. They worked together quite a bit, and then last year. And really, A.J. was shocked to see any issues with Shelby. He said he never had mechanical issues at all. And what he really loved about him was that he really went after guys. And so that's what he was surprised to see, the command issues and the walks. And A.J. really hoping Shelby does well this season. Obviously, maybe not tonight, but those two work closely together. And he said, look, even after the trade going from the Cardinals to the Braves, he always saw that Shelby was mentally tough out there on the mound.
Thank you, Jody. Reed Brignac, the third baseman, leads off the Atlanta second. And he bunts it away from the shift. Shelby Miller won't be able to make the play. Brignac's aboard. They have the shift on. Obviously, there's no third baseman over there, so Brignac beat it out.
Nice effort by Shelby Miller this time, making like a third baseman. Bare hand throw all in one motion. And one hopper to Paul Goldschmidt, not nearly in time to get Brignac. Nice bunt that time, away from the shift.
Brings up Eric Ibar, the Braves shortstop, who had a couple of singles last night. Both times he sort of looped it over the shortstop's head and into left field. And it worked out. He was 2 for 4.
It didn't really look much like a baseball swing, more like a Chris Evert two-handed backhand. Just kind of flip it out there into shallow left field, but it worked for him twice last night.
First two have reached to the Atlanta second. They came up and in on him a couple of times last night. In fact, remember he was throwing his bat.
Yeah, I mean, there are players in this game that you can intimidate them. First at bat of the ball game, knock them off the plate, go up high inside, and they're not going to dive out over the plate the rest of the evening. I'm not sure if that's the case with Eric Ibar, if that one just got away from Shelby Miller.
Going to rosin up. The second baseman tonight, it's Daniel Castro. Struck out in a pinch hit appearance last night. Just 2 hits in his last 31 at bats for Castro. He's up there with Brignac at second, Ibar at first, and nobody out. Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, talking about the familiarity here for Shelby Miller. They're hoping that'll help turn him around. Mike thinks a return to the mound that he's used to will bring something good. It's an environment he's used to. He's had success here. He was an all-star last season. And they're hoping this start is one that kind of gets Shelby over that hump and they start going in the right direction.
Well, ideally, you get to the point where the mechanics are no longer an issue. You find something that works, something you're comfortable with and you're confident in, and then just focus on throwing quality strikes. Hey, the same thing goes for a hitter. When you're in a slump as a hitter and you're constantly working on your mechanics, raise your hands, lower your hands, big leg kick, no leg kick. Eventually, you want to get to the point where you don't think about that anymore.
Did you have pitchers who tinkered too much?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I mean, pitchers by nature, they stand around on the days they don't throw in the outfield during batting practice and they compare grips. How do you throw your two-seamer? How do you throw your changeup? Do you turn the ball over when you release it, or do you keep your hand behind the baseball? They're constantly messing with their arsenal.
And sometimes it messes with your head.
Absolutely.
Well, that's certainly what Mike Butcher said. He said Shelby's biggest issue in the loss to the Rockies on Sunday, he's simply thinking too much about trying to throw strikes, and that Mike said, causes his velocity to drop from upper 90s to very low 90s. And he said there's no reason for Shelby to back off and take a little bit off the pitch to throw a strike. It's not in his nature, and he sees something here he doesn't like.
Yeah, he was blowing on the back of his right hand again and shaking the right hand out. I didn't see him hit the mound at all. Ryan DePanflo, the trainer, will head out there as well.
He had one or two pitches previously where he sort of fell off to the side like he's been doing lately. Checking with the crew chief and plate umpire Sam Holbrook here about the trainer visit.
He made that nice barehanded play on that bunt by Brignac. I'm not sure if he would have jammed his right hand into the ground after making that off-balance throw to first base, but for whatever reason, a lot of attention being paid to that right hand again.
Well, Shelby believes the follow-through issue possibly is that he's not staying as tall as he can on the mound. He's falling over a little bit. We've seen him do that once or twice here so far. Behind on Castro, 3 balls and 1 strike. He lost him. A single, a hit batter, and a base on balls have loaded them up for the pitcher, Julio Teheran, who's batting 8th tonight. There was that bunt play that he had to field.
Yeah, I mean, he makes a very nice athletic play. He just kind of slid the palm of his hand across the infield grass there on the third base side. Didn't look like he did anything to the back of his fingers where the issue really.
That's the point at which we believe he started looking down at his hand when he fielded that Brignac bunt to lead off the inning. Brignac is at third. Eric Ibar is at second, and Daniel Castro, the runner, at first.
Career 131 hitter. He's 0 for 10 this year with 5 strikeouts in those 10 at bats. In the back of Freddie Gonzalez's mind, he's thinking, well, I hope he gets a hit right here and drives in a run, or I hope he strikes out without putting the ball in play so we don't have a double play.
1-2. Center fielder Malik Smith is the on deck man.
He's a tough guy to double up. He'd like to get 2 right here with the pitcher at the plate, even if it means allowing a run to score in the attempt to turn the double play.
We've talked about the mechanics, and Shelby has insisted it's not throughout the game. It's only a certain couple of at-bats each time out, where he falls over a little bit, and then it's that disaster inning that seems to come out of nowhere suddenly, like the 4th inning against the Rockies on Sunday. 4 singles and a pair of walks in that inning and had to be pulled from the game. He's in a bases loaded, no out jam right here. 2-2. Velocity's been consistently up so far, more mid-90s than low 90s, and that's very encouraging. 25 pitches so far, 17 strikes. Still working that hand a little bit. Time granted by Sam Holbrook behind the plate.
And what a difference from one inning to the next. Threw 11 pitches and only one out of the strike zone last inning. This inning, half the pitches he's thrown have been out of the zone.
Including that one. It's a full count to the pitcher, 3-2. Brignac had a bunt single away from the shift. A play on which Miller may have rubbed his hand against the ground. He hit Ibar. He walked Castro. Now he's gone 3-2 on the pitcher, Tehran. Popped him up. Segura, infield fly rule.
I'm a big fan of letting that ball drop. You're going to get the out. The infield fly rule's on. The batter's out automatically. And there are enough players in this league. I'm not sure if any of the Braves players on base right now would fall into this category, but there are enough players in this game that see that ball on the ground. They're going to take off.
Just keep doing it till they figure it out, right? Alex Smith now, bases loaded, one down, the center fielder. He singled and struck out twice last night. .227 and a homer. And they like the way his bat has come around as of late, so they kept him up here with Ender Inciarte activated and sent down Adonis Garcia. Garcia started in left field last night. Two and 0.
Could have also had something to do with the fact that Adonis Garcia had made 7 errors in left field.
There is that.
Ooh.
Well, he's been playing mostly third base his career. He's been out there because they've needed him out there. .30 pitches, 19 strikes. Carved the other way, Brandon Drury. Brignac's at third, and here he comes. The throw is into third. It's 2-0 Atlanta. RBI for Alex Smith. Well, they had bases loaded, nobody out. So if you can get out of this mess with only 1 run in, I think you'll take it in the second inning, won't you?
Nice job of damage control if he can escape just giving up the 1 run.
And he's got 1 more big out to get. It's the leadoff man, Markakis, who flied out to center his first time. Ibar at second, Castro at first, 2 outs. Good location with that fastball at 94, 0-1.
And not to mention, it could be a big confidence builder for Shelby Miller if he's able to escape this inning, only allowing the 1 run. He was in a world of trouble after 3 hitters.
There's a tapper to second base. Segura has to deal with Castro, the base runner, but he throws him out. Bases loaded, no outs. Shelby Miller keeps him at 1 run. Diamondbacks down 2-0.
back at Turner Field. D-backs trail the Braves 2-0. May the force be with D-backs fans and the Diamondbacks as they take on the Giants. Star Wars night at Chase Field next week, Saturday, May 14th. And if you get there early, fans, you'll get the D-backs Star Wars soft style t-shirt. It's courtesy of Cox Communications. Get your tickets, D-backs and Giants, coming up on Saturday. And you can buy those at dbacks.com. I know you're a huge Star Wars guy.
I had to break out my costume. Yeah, it's been in mothballs since last year's Star Wars days.
Once a year. Julio Teheran with a 2-0 lead now, and Shelby Miller batting 8th tonight leads off the Arizona third. Teheran has retired the last 5 he's faced, the last 3 on ground balls. He's had that two-seam fastball working. Drops that breaking ball in there, and it's 0-2 on Shelby. Teheran tried to backhand that one, and Shelby rolls it into center field. A leadoff single for Shelby Miller, second hit for the Diamondbacks. He tried the old backhand swipe there, hoping to hit the ball with his glove.
Yeah, perhaps a good example for the Diamondbacks offense. Chip Hale's been saying shorten up your swing, just get the barrel on the ball and hope for good things to happen. That time just a 99 hopper back up the middle of the field. Good 2-strike approach by Shelby Miller. That's his first knock of the year, by the way.
Time for it. Nick Ahmed now. 180 and 3 homers. Batting 9th again tonight behind the pitcher. And Nick last night drove in the game's first run in the second inning with that 2-out RBI single. And it was good to get on the board first on the way to getting things turned around here. And then he had a couple of hits and RBIs in the Marlins series, so he's looked better at the plate lately. Coming off a long 3 for 46 drought. Two. Well, that play he made last night along with Wellington Castillo, they were talking about that all day during batting practice. Everybody was.
It was one of the best defensive plays I've ever seen. Both guys just adjusting on the fly to what they had to do to get the play done.
Strikes out. Second strikeout for Teheran. This was last night. Watch Castillo pick it up, throw behind the hitter, and look at Ahmed somehow gets in there. And Chip said today, thank goodness Ibar slid head first because Nick was really exposed there.
He really was. Could have been a bad collision out there at second base had Ibar gone in cleats first, but just a tremendous play on both ends.
Gene Segura flied out his first time up.
And Wellington couldn't even follow through on his throw because he'd hit his head on the back of the helmet of the hitter. He just kind of short armed, side armed it down there on a hop to Nick, who made a tremendous pick and tag. Yeah, that one will be on a lot of highlight reels forever.
Segura had 2 balls and no strikes. Nick Ahmed. You won't find too many better down there. That's a base hit for Segura. He knocks it into right field. And here comes Jake Lamb. 2 on, 1 out. And Lamb doubled his first time up.
Slashing line drive through that right side. There's such a big hole over there with Freddie Freeman holding on Shelby Miller at first base. And Gene Segura takes advantage. Look for a pitch out over the plate. You can go that direction.
Tehran did have problems at time last season against left-hand hitters, so the left-hand bats in the lineup tonight for the Diamondbacks will be key. Notably, Lamb in the 2-hole and Peralta batting cleanup. He was very vulnerable last year against left-handers. And Jake knocks that toward the right field corner. That's a fair ball. Shelby Miller will come on in and score. Matt Williams going to stop Segura, and Jake overruns second base, and he's hung up. Here comes Segura now, trying to score. The throw is not in time, and the Diamondbacks tie the ball game. Lamb ends up at third. Oh, they had him. He was a dead duck there, and the Diamondbacks really got away with one that time.
It all starts with that line drive down into the right field corner. Shelby Miller's going to score easily from second base. The question was, could Gene Segura with his speed come all the way around from first base? Matt Williams came way down the line before throwing up the stop sign, and that's what caused Jake to get caught out there in no man's land. He thought that Segura was going to try to score, rounds the bag and looks up and sees his teammate standing on the base where he was headed.
And by that time, Segura decided to take off, force the action. And he snuck in there ahead of the throw from Ibar, so it's 2-2. Lamb at third, one out. Here's Goldie. Infield in for the Braves. There's ball one. Goldie a strikeout victim his first time up. It's a way to get those 2 runs right back. No fooling around.
It's only been a game in 3 innings, but what we've seen from this Braves defense, the more pressure you can put on them, the better. It quickly turns into a snowball fight. Maybe some unintentional pressure that time.
Well, as you mentioned, they really needed Ender Inciarte back just to help the outfield defense. Malik Smith covers a lot of ground in center. Markakis is a 2-time Gold Glover in right, but the infield has been a little dicey. To this point, they score that. Jake Lamb hit a double and 1 RBI. He doesn't get the credit for the second run scoring. And there is no error on the board of any kind. 2-1 to Goldie.
Two at bats for Jake Lamb, and twice he's hit the ball right on the button.
Now with 10 doubles on the year. So there's the walk. First walk issued by Julio Tehran. Well, Chip Hale was talking about that yesterday. That, look, the offense takes a hit when Jake Lamb is not in the lineup. He's the first one to tell you that. But they want to see more production against left-hand pitchers. He faced a lot of lefties lately, so he's just not been in the lineup consistently. And when he's not in there, they feel it, and we've seen why tonight.
And I'm sure Jake Lamb and his agent are saying, well, how's he going to get any better if he doesn't get to face lefties?
There is that. Now they're going to give Ibar an error on that crazy play, and that's how the second run scores. Here's Peralta, who grounded out to first his first time up. So put an E6 in there, and that brought Segura home. 1 RBI for Lamb, who gets a double and an RBI, and Ibar the error. David last night hit the ball all over the field. He finished with 3 hits, an RBI, scored twice. So he knew, because he was the club DJ before and after the ball game last night, blasting Bob Marley in the clubhouse singing, "Don't worry, everything going to be all right." And it was. He was right. And he says, we're chilling. That's the new style the Diamondbacks have got right now. So he's going to stick with Bob Marley before and after games in the clubhouse.
Whatever it takes.
The tone setter.
David about took off the head of Alexi Ogando last night, one of the Braves relievers in the 8th inning. Took a fastball and lined it right over his shoulder into center field.
Yeah, even the double play out he hit into the 5th inning was a rocket out to right field. That could have easily been a hit any other time.
A lot of hard hit balls in that ball game last night. Brandon Drury hit a line drive to third base, the likes of which you may never see again. Brignac couldn't even get his glove up in time. I think it hit him right in the chest.
And right at him. 1-1 to Peralta. Well, it's got to give Shelby Miller confidence that he was able to get out of that bases loaded no out jam with only 1 run having scored, and then immediately in the top half of the next inning the Diamondbacks get both runs back and now threatening more. And Tehran can't find it right now. 3-1.
Boy, David looking real hitterish up there. Just the way he took that changeup, saw it right out of Tehran's hand, just watched it go by low out of the zone. Not jumping at the pitches.
They call that spitting on the pitch.
Yeah. You recognize it so quickly that, yeah, I'm not even going to think about swinging at that.
3-1 on the way. Rolls that one foul. He's been a Braves nemesis so far. He walked Goldie. Now he's gone full on Peralta. Goldie takes off. David check swing. That's a strike. The throw is not in time. Peralta strikes out. Stolen base for Goldie. That's his 3rd this year.
Tehran gets that slider in underneath the hands of David Peralta. I mentioned it last night. A.J. Przinsky does a lot of things well behind the plate, but throwing is not one of them. That ball had an arc in it down to second base.
Goldie stole a base on Przinsky last night before he was ejected. Had to be replaced by Tyler Flowers back there. So it's 2 outs now, 2nd and 3rd for Wellington Castillo, who grounded out his first time up. A rocket to 3rd, just foul. That would have easily scored both runs. Look at that face, huh?
Oh, that's the best. I don't think I ever got a foul ball. All the games I went to as a kid at Cleveland Municipal Stadium, down to Riverfront, over to Three Rivers occasionally. I don't think I ever got a foul ball. But I'd have looked just like that kid if I ever did.
Were they packing them in at Cleveland Municipal Stadium in those days?
Well, you know, that place held about 175,000 people. No, we weren't packing them in.
I was going to say there's lots of room for foul balls. Reaches out and lifts it to right center. Malik Smith calling for it. He's got it. But the Diamondbacks answer. They get 2 of their own. We're all tied up in Atlanta.
To the third, Ender Inciarte will lead it off for the Braves. While we have a moment, let's take a look back. Well, we know where this is going. Our Geico legacy moment. Randy Johnson back in 04, just absolutely dominating that Braves lineup. Robbie Hammock doing his pogo out toward the mound. Might have been the only time you ever saw Randy smile while on the field.
In this ballpark.
Ugh.
Now he's all smiles.
Yeah, why not?
And all the run of division titles. Only one of those flags is red. 95, they won it all.
Was it 14 years in a row?
You could write it down.
Man.
They've fallen on hard times as of late, but they have big plans for the future. Ender Inciarte leads off the Atlanta third. He struck out his first time up against the guy he was traded for in part, Shelby Miller.
And one constant through those 14 years was the guy sitting in that manager seat, Bobby Cox. That was one thing about this Braves organization back then. There was consistency. Players came and went and coaches came and went, but Bobby Cox was always riding herd on this Braves team, and you knew they were going to be competitive every year, regardless of who they lost in the offseason, who they signed in the offseason, any trades they may have made. Players came in here and they knew they had to conform to the Bobby Cox system.
He was entrenched. And it's a 4-pitch walk to Inciarte to lead off the third. The second walk issued by Shelby. Bobby Cox, from what I remember, always wore his spikes, right?
Yeah, always wore his cleats.
Now, most managers don't do that because it's not comfortable.
Not at all.
Any idea why he did that?
I don't know. His comfort factor, I guess. Jim Leland was another guy that wore cleats in the manager's seat. I guess maybe if you want to kick one of your players in the rear end, you want to make sure it hurt.
That way they get the message. There's Bobby Cox. Freddie Freeman homered his first time up, his 4th of the year. It looked a little something like this off the top of the wall, not the outfield wall per se, the little wall behind it, it looked like. But the Braves as a team, 7 homers. Freeman has 4 of them. And he just had enough to get it out of here. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks against Freeman, who's ahead 1-0. He was 2 for 4 last night, had a couple of singles. And his bat has been red hot lately, Freddie Freeman. He's now hit safely in 10 of his last 11 games. He's batting well over .430 during that stretch. And all this is after a painfully slow start at the plate. He was in a 2 for 25 hole to start the year. Remember, Inciarte coming off a hamstring injury that cost him a month, so we'll see how active he is on the bases. Or how much faith he's got in that hamstring injury. It was a left hamstring strain for Inciarte, suffered back on April 8th. Shelby now at 40 pitches, 23 strikes. Missed with that one. He walked Inciarte, now behind on Freeman, 3-1. Looked like he wanted that call. Inciarte takes off, and the pitch is fouled away. Full count, 3-2. Freeman is a huge guy up there, 6'5", 220. He's got that bat way up over behind his head. Big stance in there.
As big as he is, he really generates most of his power with his hands and his wrists. I mentioned it last night, that top hand for him, the left hand, really quick when he gets to the point of contact.
Full count, 3-2. Inciarte takes off again. Freeman lifts it in the air, deep left center field. Brandon Drury backing up just shy of the wall out there. And he's got it. Inciarte has to hustle back, and that's the first out here in the third. Here's A.J. Pierzynski. Flied out his first time up.
He's a double play candidate. If you can get the pitch down around the knees with a little bit of movement, he's grounded into 3 double plays already this season.
Dbacks leave the shift on for AJ. Swing and a miss. We should mention with Brandon Drury in left field, it's another game on the bench for Yasmani Tomas, and Chip Hale told us today that Tomas has come up with a stiff neck. And they're not sure exactly how or even when it happened, but Yasmani was not able to take batting practice yesterday. It was a little better today. And Chip said they'll try and get Tomas back in the lineup tomorrow, but they'll wait and see. One or one.
I'm surprised that's not more of an issue with Major League Baseball players. You know, every 3 days you move to a different hotel, different pillows, different beds.
Well, it's funny. That's exactly what Chip said. He said a lot of guys travel with their own pillows.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes that's what does it. Oh, we stay in nice hotels everywhere we go, but you never know. And there's the grounder. Goldie will field it. They get 1 and they get 2. So there you go. The fly ball and the double play ball erase that leadoff walk, and it stays 2-2.
Fourth, hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations. Well, interesting little twist on that double play to end the inning. Paul Goldschmidt has such a good internal clock. He knows the speed is going from first to second, so get that out first. A.J. Pierzynski very slow out of that left-handed batter's box. If Goldie tags the bag first, makes it a much tougher play at second base to try to get the speedy Inciarte. He seems to always make the right decision.
And if you touch the bag first, it takes the force off, correct?
Right, yeah. Then you got to tag Inciarte, and as I said, that's the speed of the play, was going from first to second. That's where you want to make sure you get that first out as quickly as you can, because you have plenty of time to get AJ.
Nobody turns that 3-6-3 better than Goldie. Brandon Drury grounded out his first time, starting in left field tonight.
And the interesting thing is that that's a much easier play for a left-handed throwing first baseman. goalie has to turn his body all the way around. Always a greater chance for a bad throw to second base, but you rarely see him make bad throws.
And Nick Ahmed, as we talked about last night, is so quick with that release, turning those plays. Two 2-0 on Brandon. He has looked nothing like the guy who started this year, Brandon Drury. It was only 4 for 22 at the plate. Just didn't look like the same hitter he'd been throughout spring training. But ever since he started getting more consistent at bats, he has been right back to form. And as soon as he became more or less an everyday guy, where the numbers just trended up and up and up. Last 17 games, hitting nearly 340, 13 extra base hits. I had 3 balls and a strike.
He's not going to let a fastball go by on a 3-1 count. That one may have been up out of the strike zone, but if Brandon gets a barrel on it, that one would have gone a long way. Incidentally, that bat does really match the unis well. I was down in the clubhouse before the game. That's a nice look.
I didn't know you could accessorize like this.
Of course.
It's like the old monochromatic ties back in the 90s where everyone wore the same thing all the time, all the same color. Get ready for the pink tomorrow. Mother's Day tomorrow. I was down to the clubhouse earlier today, and they have a whole thing set up. Every pink hats, uniforms, you name it. It's going to be a whole pink look tomorrow. Oftentimes, first it was just the occasional bat, then everybody had a bat, then there would be a wristband, a shoelace, something, but they are going all pink tomorrow. All over Major League Baseball.
And rightfully so. Where would we be without Mom?
That's a shot down the left field line. Brandon Drury bidding for another extra base hit here. He'll take the turn. And he's got a double. That's number 8 for Brandon Drury.
Much more controlled swing that time than on the 3-1 pitch when he was trying to hit it to Marietta, Georgia. Just got the barrel on that one, ripped it down into that left field corner.
Look at his throw by Ender. He gave it the full all out. He's just happy to be back. With that big arm of his trying to get Drury, but he was in there well ahead of the throw. A leadoff double now for Chris Owings. CO grounded out to shortstop his first time. Already 3 doubles for the Diamondbacks tonight against Julio Teheran. CO gets the bunt down. It's by Teheran. Brignac is on it, makes a nice play, and advances Brandon Drury to third. .53 on the sacrifice for Owings.
I like that. A guy that has speed and is capable of bunting for a base hit. Why just square around and give yourself up to an easy out? Go ahead and try to bunt for a base hit. That time caught a little bit too much barrel. Got out into the middle of the infield where Brignac could make the play.
Shelby Miller singled and scored his first time up. Rolled one up the middle and into center for a base hit.
Yeah, it's funny when you're swinging the bat trying to get a base hit, you want to barrel it up. When you're trying to bunt for a base hit, you'd rather have it down near the trademark or out near the end to deaden that ball.
Infield in on the grass for the Braves.
Shelby Miller taking a swing for the downs right there on the 2-0 count.
Remember that cool temps we had here last night? The wind was blowing straight in from left center. This is the way it usually is now, blowing out toward right center field. 2-2.
And by this point in the ball game last night, I had my jacket on, my teeth were chattering. I'd had about 3 cups of hot chocolate.
Much more pleasant evening here tonight. Just gorgeous. Shelby Miller strikes out, 2 down, brings up Nick Ahmed. Shoot off the fireworks here after every strikeout. Just 1. It looks like a mistake every time.
I thought somebody was a little quick on the trigger last night. I guess I missed the first couple times they did it on strikeouts.
Very subtle. It sort of defeats the purpose of fireworks, but here's Ahmed. Remember, Nick had that big 2-out RBI hit early in the ball game last night. See if we can get another one right here. Get Drury home from third.
That first at bat tonight, Nick really struggled with the Tehran slider. Just looked like he wasn't picking up the rotation. His swing looked like fastball, but the pitch was sliding away and off the barrel of the bat. This is a slider coming up right here. Nope, fastball away.
1-1. Hard to believe Julio Tehran, only 25 already in his 6th season here with the Braves. Pitch count's getting up there. This guy does go deep into games. They will let him go. At times well over 100 pitches. He's been over 100 4 times in 6 starts. His high for the year is 115. In there for a strike, and it's 2-2. Discussion with the crew chief, Sam Holbrook, who's calling balls and strikes tonight. Full count, 3-2.
Sixth full count in the game already for Tehran.
That's reflected in the pitch count here. Nearly 80 pitches through 3 2/3. Four. A 2-out walk for Nick. Second walk issued by Julio Tehran. And now Gene Segura gets a chance to drive in Drury from third.
Pitching coach Roger McDowell on his way out to the mound to have a word with his right-hander. For me, and I've only seen Tehran a handful of times in his career, but it just seems like he can throw that fastball on the outside corner almost whenever he wants to. And that used to be the Atlanta Braves way under Bobby Cox and Leo Mazzoni. Just pound away at that outside corner. That's where you're going to get the soft contact. That's where you could occasionally get a called strike out there on the outside corner. And to me, it looks like Tehran is out of that mold. But almost every at bat, he messes around with the slider. He might throw a changeup. Just go with your strength.
Well, that's kind of what they've been telling Shelby Miller, too.
Yeah, don't make it so tough on yourself.
Think guys get bored?
I think sometimes that's the case. Yeah, especially guys that have really good stuff. Yeah, I could stand out here and throw 11 fastballs and get out of the inning, but what fun is that? I want to knee buckle somebody with my curveball. I want to fool them so bad they fall down.
Well, a chance for Segura. 2 on and 2 out in a 2-2 game. Segura singled his last time up, scored a run. Just knocked it the other way with Freeman holding Ahmed on the bag at first. There's a big hole over there one more time. Gene does now what he did back in the third. It's a 3-2 Dbacks lead. Look at all that room right there between first and second. Rolls away from Pierzynski, and Ahmed moves up 90 feet. A wild pitch charge to Julio Teheran. And now a single could score 2.
And a great jump over there by Nick. He is one of the D-backs base runners that really gets a good read. He sees the trajectory of the pitch. He anticipates it being in the dirt, knowing that it's going to be very tough to block, recover, pick up the ball, and make an accurate throw. And that time, no throw.
Segura had 2 balls and no strikes. Lamb, who has a pair of doubles and 2 at-bats, is on deck. And it's 3-0.
Break out a name for you. The best I ever saw, Mark Loretta, at reading pitches that were going to bounce in the dirt. Mark Loretta was not a fast base runner, but boy, he was so alert, would anticipate the trajectory of the pitch and take bases all the time when he really shouldn't have.
The requisite 3-0 strike. Diamondbacks scored 2 in the third, a chance to put up 2 more right here in the fourth. Another full count now for Julio Teheran. That's 7 in the ballgame. Lamb 2 for 2, 2 doubles. Right field corner, but headed for the seats and out of play. Nice grab.
Yeah, nice job. Atta babe. Somebody buy that man a beverage.
One more time on 3-2. Well, this is good news. The Diamondbacks, as we illustrated earlier, have had their problems with Julio Teheran. Well, knock him out of the ball game, drive that pitch count up, get into this bullpen, and we saw last night that's a good thing. Teheran, 5 career starts against the Diamondbacks, 3 wins and a 2.17 ERA, but he's nearing 90 pitches here through 3 2/3. Drury at third, Ahmed at second. 2 outs, 3-2 to Segura. A bouncer over the glove of Teheran. Castro's there. Segura is out at first. Close play down there. Rob Drake, the first base umpire. Chip Hale holding everybody up. Let's stay right here. They may want to challenge the out call at first. They'll check with Alan Campbell, the video coordinator in the clubhouse. No challenge from the Diamondbacks. So they cannot get a run across. It stays a 2-2 ball game at Turner Field.
We head to the bottom half of the fourth inning. Follow Arizona Diamondbacks baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet.
D-backs and Braves 2-2 here at Turner Field as Reed Brignac leads off the Atlanta fourth against former Brave Shelby Miller. Brignac singled and scored his first time up. The shift was on and he bunted away from it. Shelby Miller made a diving play trying to field the bunt. Sort of rolled his hand against the grass and it seemed to bother Shelby for a couple of batters, but haven't seen any sign of that since. And they do not shift against Brignac here. Shelby so far has walked 2. He's got 1 strikeout.
Tehran spot is due up 4th in this inning for the Atlanta Braves. He's thrown 87 pitches in the game, which, as you mentioned earlier, is not really a stretch for him at all. But Freddie may have to pinch hit just to get some offense going for this Braves team.
There's not a lot of enticing options for him, I'm sure, as he looks down the dugout. Ibar, the shortstop, on deck. Castro, the second baseman, behind him.
I think every manager's had that feeling at some point where, the pitcher spot's coming up and you look at your extra guys and go, geez, that's all I've got to choose from.
They put the shift on in the middle of the at-bat when the count changed, and it worked right there. He grounds out to Segura, 1 away.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that lately. They play pretty much straight up until there's 1 strike on the hitter, and then they go into the pull shift. I think that is to possibly take away the bunt for a base hit opportunity that we saw Brignac do back in his first at bat in the second inning. Once you get to 1 strike, most guys are going to go ahead and swing away.
Diamondbacks in this series have been pitching Eric Ibar up and in, and Miller hit him in his first plate appearance back in the second. Right at the knees for a strike at 93. Eric Ibar in Atlanta now after 10 years with the Angels. He was an all-star and a Gold Glove winner in Anaheim. He's down 0-2. Shelby Miller says if he's thinking out there what he's doing wrong, it's tough, and that can mess with you even more than if you're thinking about what you're doing along the way here. He just wants to go out there and play catch, he says. And he's had some moments where it's looked like he's been doing that so far. Just play catch with the catcher. Don't think anything too much outside of that. Just get back to basics. That's what he's heard from the coaching staff here. And that's what Chip Hale told us before the ball game today. Just pick up your target and let it fly. Don't worry about the mechanics.
Well, the real positive I will take from the early part of this ball game for Shelby Miller is he's been able to stop the bleeding when it looks like it's going to start slipping away, and we've seen that happen several times in his starts this year. He's been able to right the ship, get the big outs he needs to avoid further damage.
Butcher was talking about that, said look, he's just thinking too much out there, and that causes the velocity to drop from upper 90s to low 90s. And that makes the issues, Mike believes, to be a little more mechanical than it really is. You think it's mechanics. Well, just thinking too much. When he's aggressive, he's fine, they said. And Shelby is the first to tell you, trying to place perfect fastballs around the edge of the strike zone at 90, 91. That's not what he does. He says he's not a guy like Zach Greinke who's going to go out there, throw the perfect strike, pound the bottom of the zone. That's just not his game. He feels like he's a power pitcher, and right now he's just not being the guy that he can be. And that's frustrating for him and for everybody. It's there, and it's 2-2 because he says it's not even close to how good he can pitch, and the Diamondbacks know that. That's why they traded for him.
And one thing about Shelby, as you mentioned, a power pitcher, mid to upper 90s when he's throwing the ball well. He really wanted this slider right here. Just freeze his eye bar. Yeah, I can see why he wanted it. But yeah, he's not a guy that's going to sink the ball on the corners. Sometimes his best fastball is that 96, 97 up there at the letters. Most hitters can't catch up to that pitch. Very tough to lay off of. It's to your strengths.
And you watched video of him last year here in Atlanta. He would throw that 97-mile-an-hour rising fastball that would just bust right-hand hitters up and in on the hands. Full count to Ibar, 3-2. This is hit out to Peralta in right field. 2 down. And it's 4 in a row now, set down by Shelby Miller. And here's Daniel Castro, the second baseman.
That was a grind against Eric Ibar right there. A 10-pitch at bat before finally getting that fly ball to Peralta in right field.
First pitch swing, and that'll help. Jake Lamb at third. And it's a 1-2-3-4 for Shelby Miller, who is now set down 5 in a row. We are tied at 2 in Atlanta.
When we're on the road, we always like to check out the newest food items. So many great items at Chase Field and a lot of creative ones. This is the Burgerizza. Joe from MLB TV is helping me. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, he's scared of the microphone, Joe. But now let's tilt this down a touch. Look at that, guys. It's a pizza and then a burger with bacon on it and then another pizza apparently on the bottom. So, I don't know, Bob, you're kind of the pizza expert. What do you think about this?
Maybe just a little bit of overkill, but
the bacon may have gone over the line.
Yeah, the bacon just crossed it right over the line.
And kind of good, but I don't eat food too much with like on TV. I try not to, but the burger seems delicious. I mean, I haven't tried the pizza yet. But we've had the boomstick in Texas. We've had the 20-scoop ice cream in Chicago, and, you know, we just had to do this. So, guys, would you like me to send some up to you?
I think Joe should get that for his outstanding effort here.
Great help. I mean,
he can finish that thing off probably by the bottom of the 5th.
Corey behind the scenes here with me. If he gets a break, maybe he'll have a bite or two. But Burgerizza, They tell me on the plaza here, Braves Plaza. Be sure to stop by if you're visiting Atlanta. Taste of the Majors on Braves Plaza.
Just keep it away from the players, Jody. That's all.
I would say anytime you have to eat your pizza with a fork, it's probably too much. Jake Lamb has been up twice and doubled twice. And he's ahead 1-0 against Julio Teheran. 2-2 ball game as we start the fifth. I was told by someone who had the burgerita that it didn't sit well.
No?
Yeah. I don't want to.
It's hard to believe.
I know. It's shocking, right? I don't want to reveal the identity, but they were less than thrilled. But it looks like a lot. Jody's just giving it away down there. Look at this.
I like burgers. I like pizza. I like bacon. I just don't know if I like them all together at once.
This ball is well hit to Markakis in right field. He's on the run and he runs it down. The two-time Gold Glover has it right on the warning track, and they finally retire Jake Lamb.
A line drive 385 feet away on the warning track.
He's looking at Teheran pretty good, it looks like.
Yeah, real good.
You can see what's coming. She's got a napkin. That's a good thing.
Everybody's saying Happy Mother's Day, and I don't.
Got a crisis down there, apparently. Goldie has struck out and walked, stolen a base. Leave it to the burgeritas to cause problems.
Surprised they didn't throw some grits on there.
Don't give them ideas. That way they can load it up with butter, and that'll be it. They'll just kill everyone.
Yeah, those are sold right next to the first aid station here at the ballpark. I have a cardiologist on standby.
Oh, man. 2-2.
Are you a grits guy? You lived down here for a while.
You got to load it up with so much stuff just to make it edible.
Yeah.
No.
That's the way I felt.
Yeah. You got to put everything on there. I mean, they're kind of greasy as it is, but the butter, sugar, salt, whatever you need, it's just too much. Well, this is a great restaurant town. There are tremendous places to eat all over the city here in Atlanta. Ball strike three. Goldie strikes out for the second time tonight. 5 strikeouts for Julio Teheran. Brings up David Peralta, who's 0 for 2. And Teheran getting close to 100 pitches here in the 5th inning. Jumps on the first one again, second time tonight he's done that. Diamondbacks have out-hit the Braves so far, 5-2. Atlanta's 2 hits of Freddie Freeman solo homer in the first. Reed Briniak bunted away from the shift for a single in the second. And those have been the only Atlanta hits. They've had 2 walks and a hit batter that led to their other run. And Peralta now ahead, 3 balls and 1 strike. Wellington Castillo would be next. Center field. Malik Smith is out there. And that's the end of the 5th. 4 in a row set down by Tehran. Dbacks and Braves tied at 2.
It's 5-2. The score is tied at 2 as we head to the bottom half of the 5th. When the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. A day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Now, since we won last night, you can get the Papa John's pizza. You can get 2 of them, stick a burger in the middle, and you have your own burgeritas. Throw some bacon on there.
Well, you get your Jumbo Jack from Brandon Drury's homer last night.
Oh, see, that's next level thinking. That's executive type thinking. Well, Julio Tehran already over 100 pitches. He's at 101, so with his spot leading off the Atlanta 5th, they will hit for the starting pitcher, and Chase d'Arnaud will lead it off. Just 2 games with the Braves this season. He has spent most of this year at AAA Gwinnett. Hit .255 there with a home run, called up for the minor leagues on Monday. His brother is the Mets catcher, Travis d'Arnaud. And he's got a base hit.
Chase d'Arnaud has his own band.
What are they called?
The Chase d'Arnaud Band. Yeah. I forget the total name of the title of the song. It had something to do with a honeymoon cruise, or honeymoon something or other. It's not bad. He's no Bronson Arroyo, but
then again,
he's working on it.
Alex Smith, an RBI sac fly, his first plate appearance. Just turned 23 years old yesterday. Once that one down the third base line, Jake Lamb got a hurry. Smith can really fly. 5-4 on the sacrifice, moves d'Arnaud up 90 feet. So here's Nick Markakis 0 for 2. d'Arnaud, the go-ahead run at second, 1 away. Markakis not a power hitter despite a couple of 20-homer seasons in Baltimore. That was a while ago, back in 07 and 08. Just 3 home runs and over 600 at bats last year.
That ballpark in Baltimore can play as a little bit of a bandbox too.
Ask Mark Trumbo about that. He's having a big year there for Buck Showalter. Markakis, an excellent hitter, over 500 with runners in scoring position this year. Last season, it took him 92 games to hit his first home run. First home run came July 20th right here at Turner Field. Over 350 at bats without a homer. But as a left-hand hitter in that ballpark, Oriole Park at Camden Yards, he was a home run guy, but now that he's here at Turner Field, he goes the other way much more often. And that's going to take away from the home run production, but it's helped him pile up the base hits. We'll be in Baltimore this year, I think, near the end of September. Hard to first. Goldie backhands it, takes him himself, calls off Miller. Darno moves up to third. And there are 2 down. And here comes Ender Inciarte. Ender has struck out and walked. Just activated from the DL today by the Braves. He'd been out since April 8th with that left hamstring strain.
I think that's the same walk-up music Ender used at Chase Field.
Yeah, I noticed that. Ain't broke, I guess. 70 pitches for Shelby Miller, 43 strikes. Darno at third, 2 down. Yanks that one foul. It's 0-1. Nick Ahmed, what a play. Nick Ahmed saves another run. How does he do it all the time? Boy, did he make that look easy. He keeps it a 2-2 game. Up the middle, that looked like a sure RBI single. Ahmed is there, tough throw. We stay tied in Atlanta. In Atlanta, time now for greater coverage of baseball. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. A look around the National League West. Dodgers won in Toronto behind who else? Clayton Kershaw, who struck out 10 Blue Jays without a walk. Matt Duffy, a walk-off double in the 13th inning at AT&T Park. The Giants beat the Rockies. And the Mets and Padres, San Diego trails right now, 2-0 in the second at Petco Park. Bartolo Colon and James Shields. One more look at that amazing play by Nick Ahmed, who saved another run.
I mean, the range, the ability to throw off balance, the ability to throw accurately off balance, just amazing. And he does it every day. Chaz Roberts, air conditioning and plumbing cool play of the game. Nobody does it better.
New pitcher for the Braves. It's the right-hander Bud Norris, who had a very rough start this year. He lost 4 games in April. That final loss, he lasted only 1 1/3, gave up 7 hits, 6 runs. They lost at 9-4, so he has been transitioned, as they say, to the bullpen. He is the long man back there. Wellington Castillo leads off the Arizona 6th. There's Bud Norris.
That's a guy that in 28 starts a couple of years ago for Baltimore won 15 ball games.
He pitched out of the bullpen 27 times last year, had an ERA over 6.5. So Tehran is out of there. This is the opportunity now for the Diamondbacks to break this 2-2 tie.
Freddie Gonzalez had to use 4 relief pitchers last night to finish up in relief of Aaron Blair. Bud Norris was not one of them. And you would assume he's looking for some length out of his veteran right-hander.
Castillo 0 for 2. He's grounded out and flied out. He's ahead 3 balls and no strikes. And Wellington's bat really coming around lately. He's hit safely in 10 of his last 12 games. And over that stretch, he's hit 375. There's a strike, 3-1. Castillo, a couple of hits last night. A double and a 2-run single late in the ball game. A leadoff walk. Brings up Brandon Drury. Brandon, his last time up, belted another one down the left field line into that left field corner for his 8th double of the year. He homered here last night. When you look at this guy step in here, Bob, what do you see? 23-year-old rookie.
It makes me want to become a player agent. Wow, this guy, the future is so bright for this young man. I mean, we talked about it with Tomas, the cultural change and learning a new language and a new culture and everything. And for any young player, it's the same thing. He doesn't have the language barrier that perhaps a Hispanic player would have, but Brandon Drury is still learning how to be a big league player, and what we've seen already, the raw materials we've seen already, are off the charts. By all accounts, the coaches say he wants to learn. He's a hard worker, and that combined with his physical ability, this guy has a chance to be really special.
He just looks, when he's in the batter's box, polished beyond his years, really.
Good way to put it.
But he's always had a very professional approach. He's very serious about the way he goes about his business. You notice that right away. He belts another one to the left center field gap, and that's going to reach the wall. Matt Williams going to wave Wellington Castillo home all the way from first base. Here's the throw, and it is not in time. He's in there. He just snuck the foot in, says Sam Holbrook, and it's 3-2 Dbacks. RBI double for Brandon Drury. Let's see if Freddie Gonzalez wants to challenge the safe call at home.
Oh, just another rope line drive, this time into the gap in left center. And Wellington Castillo right now feels like he ran the rock and roll marathon. Scoring all the way from first base. Matt Williams waving him the whole way. He was leaking oil all the way down that third baseline, but fortunately the throw was high. able to get that foot on the plate before A.J. Brzezinski could get the tag down.
Another very aggressive send from Matt Williams. He had one last night. The throw was offline. They scored the run. And he got another high throw here on this one. And there is no challenge from the Braves dugout. So write it down in pen. RBI double for Drury. 3-2 Diamondbacks. So they got into that bullpen. It only took 2 batters. Here's Chris Owings. Got to keep pouring it on here. Drury doubled to lead off the 4th. He was stranded at 3rd. He's out there now at second base. Nobody out and 1 run in.
And Bud Norris has immediately fallen behind all 3 hitters he's faced in this inning. There's no way to go about your business.
So far 10 pitches, only 3 of them strikes. And one of those was belted into the gap in left center. Three and 0. He's already walked 1 in this inning.
Chip likes to green light his players on 3-0, but that's a good take when the guy's out there struggling to throw strikes. You don't want to help him out. If he's going to throw a strike 3-0, he's got to throw another strike 3-1.
It's been walk, double walk so far for Bud Norris. And Shelby Miller will come up. And here's another mound visit for Roger McDowell. Bullpen gets busy again. We saw Cervenka last night. Turned into a summit meeting out there on the mound. The entire Braves infield is in. Shelby singled and scored a run back in the 3rd. Struck out his last time up against Julio Teheran. Sam Holbrook out there now to break this up. Another walk for Chris Owings. It's one of those things that goes unnoticed, but CO, who was infamous for never ever walking, is walking a lot more frequently than ever before this year. His walk rate this season is about double what it was last year, and it's by far a career high. He has seen a dramatic drop in his number of pitches he swings at that are outside the zone. That was a big issue for him last year.
Yeah, and a lot of nights he finds himself in that tough spot in the lineup, hitting right in front of the pitcher.
So here's Miller, who squares to bunt. Freeman coming in from first. Pulls back. Now where's the right place to bunt this one?
Well, I'm not sure. I think the Braves had a little miscommunication on their bunt defense that time. Had 2 men covering third base. The second baseman and the first baseman were both in that vicinity. I'm not quite sure what bunt defense play that was.
Pops it up. Gets back to the screen.
But ideally, you bunt the ball down the third baseline, keep it away from the catcher, away from the pitcher, and try to force the third baseman Brignac to come in and make the play. Freddie Freeman has no responsibility as far as the base runner is concerned, so he's already a good 10-12 feet in front of the baseline down there at first and charging hard as the pitch is delivered. Definitely want to keep it away from him.
0-2. He squares with 2 strikes. Freeman comes in from first. He gets it down. Nope, it's foul. He strikes out. First out recorded by Bud Norris. Nick Ahmed has struck out and walked. Right field for Markakis. Everybody has to hold up. 2 down. So it's up to Gene Segura. Segura singled and scored in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3. He has now hit safely in 5 straight games and 13 of his last 14.
Nick Ahmed needs a compass or a GPS or something on his bat. He's hit some balls hard recently, unfortunately, right at defenders. That one right at Nick Markakis in right field. Barely had to move.
Right to Brignac at 3rd. Diamondbacks strand 2, but they get one. Another Brandon Drury extra base hit. Last night he homered. Tonight he's got 2 doubles. This one drove in the go-ahead run, and it's 3-2 Diamondbacks at Turner Field.
Take the lead there in the top of the 6th. Welcome back to Turner Field, where they've had some field issues, and you know, a lot of the things that we talk about are what goes on at these fields. Beyonce concert at Marlins Park, and tonight back at Chase Field. Take a look at what Chase Field has been transformed into for the Kenny Chesney concert. It's also going to be Miranda Lambert, Sam Hunt, and Old Dominion. So guys, big doings at Chase tonight, but you know, Grant and the crew there, they are going to do their best to get that field back in shape for baseball. They do a fantastic job.
You have that. They have the ASU graduation as well there. Freddie Freeman, who homered in the 1st off Shelby Miller, leads off the 6th.
I don't think Grant and his crew get enough credit. I mean, when you think of all the challenges they have, a retractable roof, temperatures over 100 degrees all summer long, no rain, and that field always looks good.
These guys work incessantly on our field there, and they do a tremendous job. And they are up for the challenge, and they held some time when we get back, and we won't get back till Thursday. Goldie at first. That's a fair ball. Shelby's got to hurry up and get over there, and he's there in time. Nicely done by America's first baseman. And they retire Freeman.
That's actually one of the easier throws for a first baseman, going right down that first base line, because you're throwing right at the pitcher as he's running directly toward you. You don't really have to lead him, just hit him right in the chest. Top spin grounder right down that line. It's about as easy as you can do it.
Well, Shelby Miller is into the 6th here. And he's done a good job. He had a very rocky second inning. It was a single, a hit batter, and a walk to lead off that inning. They had bases loaded, no outs. They got one on a sacrifice fly, so he kept the damage to an absolute bare minimum there. And since then, the Braves have only one hit. At one point through the third and fourth, Shelby retired 5 in a row. A.J. Pierzynski, 0 for 2.
Haven't seen a lot of breaking balls from Shelby Miller tonight. Big curveball right there to get the swing and a miss from the Braves catcher. Hasn't thrown many, but the ones he has thrown have been very sharp, very good.
Well, one thing he's done tonight is consistently pitch to contact. He's got some ground ball outs. He's got a double play turn behind him. He's only got 1 strikeout, and he's walked just 2. He has hit a batter. This is in the air, deep right center field. Chris Owings at the wall. He spins and makes the catch. CO out there with a nice running grab to take a base hit away from A.J. Pierzynski.
Normally when you talk about outfielders, you don't talk about body control. That's more important in the middle infield, but CO able to make the adjustment right there at the very end of the play, and I'm sure his experience as a shortstop and second baseman helped him make that adjustment out there in right center.
Well, Chip Hale was talking about the Ender Inciarte trade today. He was asked a lot about that, obviously, and Chip said the loss of A.J. Pollock has exaggerated Ender's absence, but at the same time they have been amazed at how well Chris Owings has taken to that position, and they are excited about the way he's been able to go out there and play center field, and we just saw why. Reed Brignac 1 for 2, singled and scored a run. Theo got to come in on this one. It drops in front. Brignac's got his second hit tonight. The other thing about Chris being the center fielder, that gets him additional at bats that he may not have had if he was still in the middle infield mix all the time. So there is that upside as well.
Yeah, if he was waiting for opportunities to get in there for Gene Segura one day and Nick Ahmed another day, he might not get very many at bats over the course of a week, but his ability to go out there and play some center field, take some walks, be a more disciplined hitter, going to get a lot more playing time.
A 2-out base runner for Eric Ibar, who has been hit by a pitch and flied out. Andrew Chafin will start throwing in the Diamondback bullpen.
Guessing he's getting ready in case the Braves get down to that pitcher spot and send left-handed hitting Kelly Johnson up to take the at-bat.
They have a run of left-hand hitters due up after that. Alex Smith, Nick Markakis, Ender Inciarte, Freddie Freeman. Shelby with 2 outs in the 6th, still in very relatively good shape here. 82 pitches, 52 strikes. Goldie at first. Another ground ball out for Shelby Miller. He strands the 2-out single, and he is through 6 innings, holding a 3-2 lead. bonnet in the house here in Atlanta, where the D-backs have a 3-2 lead over the Braves. And fans, we remind you tomorrow, Cup of Coffee is back. Our first episode airs Mother's Day tomorrow with David Peralta. And David tells his amazing story from Venezuela to independent ball to the major leagues. It's a brand new season of Cup of Coffee. It's brought to you by CenturyLink, and it debuts tomorrow at 1:30 and 10 p.m. only on Fox Sports Arizona. And we have other shows to follow coming up all summer long. New pitcher for Atlanta here as we start the 7th inning. We saw him last night. It's the left-hander Hunter Cervenka, who's a lot like David Peralta. He was pitching independent ball with the Sugarland Skeeters last July. Braves signed him, and now he has totaled 13 consecutive scoreless outings to start the year. An ERA of 0. He worked 2/3 of an inning last night through only 6 pitches. Jake Lamb, who has 2 doubles, leads it off.
You know, Bert, we had that shot of the lady with the hat on there, the Kentucky Derby lid.
Who won the Derby, by the way?
I don't know.
NyQuil, apparently.
Yeah, the gentleman there rubbing his eyes, his name is Wayne Coleman. He's been a season ticket holder for the Braves as long as I can remember. Back my rookie year, I remember Wayne Coleman sitting right there above the visitors' dugout every game. Always would compliment the team if you happen to play well and beat his beloved Braves.
You don't see many fans who wear name tags. That's interesting. But he's got his on.
It's funny, you know, you travel around the league and you go from ballpark to ballpark, and it seems like every stadium has their regulars, people that you see year in and year out in the same seats. You get to know them by name. But, you know, unlike some fans, when you go into a ballpark and you're the visitor, you're the bad guy, he was never that way. He would always compliment, at the time, the Giants if we played well, or the Diamondbacks if we played well. And I never heard him say a discouraging word about his own team or the visiting team.
I don't know about that hat. But
yeah, well, that's a whole nother story.
2-2. You ever go to the Derby ever?
No.
I've known people that have done that.
This time of year, this is baseball season.
That's true. You're not exactly available. But she's in the Derby spirit today. She has a name tag on as well. Two and two to Jake Lamb. The other way, but right at Reed Brinier. As Paul Goldschmidt steps up now, it's time for our Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. Most stolen bases all time. Goldie had a stolen base last night, has another one tonight, so he has now moved up on the D-backs all-time list.
Who would have thought?
He's stolen as many bases as Steve Finley. Tonight he has struck out twice and walked.
What about Jake Lamb? 2 doubles, drove in a run in the game, but he's hit the ball hard 4 straight times tonight.
Yeah, he belted one deep to Markakis his last time up. That should have been a double as well, the ball he just hit. I think he's saying that right now.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Well, Jake, they say they all even out. You'll get a broken bat blooper that'll drop in there tomorrow.
I've always wondered, do they actually all even out?
No. I'm owed a whole lot of them if that's the case.
Cervenka being careful with a Goldie here. Behind 3 balls and no strikes. He's got another lefty on deck in Peralta. Staying away. Goldie a second walk, the major league leader. A 1-out base runner for David, who's 0 for 3.
Goldie only 10 behind Justin Upton on that stolen base list. He's already stolen 1 tonight, had 1 last night.
Well, we'll see what kind of a move Cervenka has. The only 2 batters he faced last night were Lamb and Goldie. Got them both to fly out. Braves bullpen, as it has been since they hit for Julio Teheran back in the 5th inning, is still busy. Jim Johnson also pitched last night. He threw 24 pitches, worked 1 1/3, had a rough night, gave up a home run to Drury. And they have Goldie hung up.
Yeah, just guessed wrong. They were assuming he wasn't going to double up on that pickoff move to first base. You see Goldie do that quite often. Just take off. Of course, he doesn't have nearly the element of surprise that he once did because he's done it so often now. Teams are more alert.
Stole 21 bases last year. Dbacks bullpen will get busy. Tyler Clippard, the right-hander. Tyler worked 1 inning last night, had a couple of strikeouts.
Partner, hold on to your seat.
I'm holding.
After 246 plate appearances, Bartolo Colon hit a homer.
No. The internet might explode. They will literally break the internet.
Wow. How about that?
Speaking of which, did you see the Giancarlo Stanton homer?
I'm just waiting for it to land, and then I will look at the video.
I mean, it's more amazing considering we just left that ballpark. He hit it over the art sculpture, one of the concourse back there. I think it was the second longest homer in the history of the planet. Over the art thing out there. Take a look.
Don't throw it. Told you not to throw it.
Over the art. Over the stairs. The Jody Jackson stairway out there. I mean, that's nuts. That was unbelievable. Our producer Brad the Big Dog Weimer had that one loaded and ready to go. Nice. Big league. That's why they call him the Big Dog. Even though he's terribly short.
What's that old saying? It's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog.
Yep.
You know, those tape measure home runs like that. I love that. I mean, you think of people that were at the ballpark and actually saw that happen years from now when they take their grandkids out to that ballpark, if it's still there. They'll say, I was here when Giancarlo Stanton hit one over the sculpture. No way, Grandpa.
We stretch in Atlanta. Tight ball game here. 3-2 Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks lead the Braves 3-2. The Gig Alive high-speed highlights presented by Cox. Shelby Miller back in town. He needed 33 pitches to get through the first 2 innings, Bob. but only 50 after that. And tonight he had 10 ground ball outs.
Much more what we expected to see from Shelby Miller. Much better pace out there on the mound. Didn't really talk about his mechanics at all tonight. And as I mentioned at the time, the big difference tonight was when things started to slip away, he was able to get back on track and get out of some of the jams that he got into.
Yeah, finished the ball game with only 1 strikeout, walked 2, hit a batter, got out of a bases loaded no-out jam in the second with only 1 run in on a sacrifice fly, and from that point on, gave up only 2 more hits, both singles. And now our Arizona Federal Credit Union pitching change brings in Tyler Clippard, who had a pair of strikes in his 1 inning of work last night. A dozen appearances out of the Diamondback bullpen, now 13, and a 2.77 ERA.
Last night's game followed the formula for Chip Hale, and the Diamondbacks got 6 strong innings out of the starter Zach Greinke. 1 inning from Clippard, 1 from Hudson, 1 from Ziegler.
So Clippard on for the 7th. Daniel Castro, the second baseman, leads it off. Castro has walked and grounded out. Pitcher spot is due up next for the Braves. That's 8th in their lineup, and Kelly Johnson is in the on-deck circle. Clippard struck out Castro as a pinch hitter last night in the 7th inning. Very high fly ball near the left field line for Brandon Drury.
This just in, Bartolo Colon has almost completed his home run trot.
I'm not sure you can call it a trot. Maybe a power walk at best. No Kelly Johnson, 204. He's got 3 extra base hits this year, all doubles. He got the start last night at second base, singled and walked. Two.
Watching Jake Lamb move from third base over to second base in the pull shift almost looked like a wide receiver going in motion in football. Off the line of scrimmage and ran to the other side of the field.
Those third basemen, they used to be able to just basically stand put, but now they got to run all over. 1-2. Got him. A fly ball and a strikeout for Tyler Clippard. 2 down. Brings up Alex Smith, the center fielder.
That may be one of those pitches there where shaking your head on the mound in a 2-strike count got the hitter thinking. Kelly Johnson takes a fastball right in his happy zone, down and in. Clippard had shaken off a couple of signs from Wellington Castillo before finally settling on that fastball in.
Padres have fallen behind at Petco Park. They trail the Mets 4-3. Giants winners at home over the Rockies in extra innings 2-1. And earlier today, the Dodgers 6-2 winners at the Rogers Center against the Blue Jays behind Kershaw. Tyler struck out Malik Smith as an appearance last night. This is rolled to first. Goldie will take it himself, and Tyler Clippard comes in, works a 1-2-3 7th inning. We'll head to the 8th in Atlanta, where the Diamondbacks have a 3-2 lead. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. Batting second in the 8th inning, it's Brandon Drury, who's already got 2 doubles tonight.
One-run lead by the Dbacks as we head to the top half of the 8th inning. The Diamondbacks welcome the Yankees to Chase Field for a 3-game series, May 16th through the 18th. You can get tickets now at dbacks.com.
Turner Field in Atlanta. Gorgeous Saturday night here. Diamondbacks trying to clinch a series win. New pitcher for the Braves as we start the 8th inning. It's the veteran Jason Grilli. And you can see right here he has walked 9 and given up 10 hits in 9 innings this year. His ERA is at 6. And they always look. Every team takes a downturn from time to time, but they always give you the bullpen notes here. Every team, the game notes, and you get a little rundown of every guy and what he's done. Every guy in the Braves bullpen, you look at the little notes. It says blown lead, has blown save, was transitioned into the bullpen, failed to convert, failed to hold, failed to protect. Eesh.
And that's trying to put a positive spin on it. Yeah.
And they've literally run out of good things to say. But we give them credit for being honest. Wellington Castillo was 0 for 2. He walked and scored his last time up. Came in on Brandon Drury's RBI double. And Brandon is on deck as we start the 8th inning. Blueprint is in progress here. We've seen, just like we did last night, Clippard in the 7th. Now Daniel Hudson warming up for the home half of the 8th, and we assume after that Brad Ziegler. Although the Diamondbacks last night made things a bit easier on their pitchers. They got 1 run in the 8th and 2 in the 9th. Wound up breaking open a close game and won at 7-2. Pops him up. That's going to be in the seats and out of play. It's a weird year here in Atlanta. It's a transition year with the roster, with the ballpark situation. It's going to be sort of a strange neutral season here, just sort of waiting for next year if you're a Braves fan, as they restock the minor league system and build a new ballpark.
And if you've been to this ballpark at some point in the past and have an affinity for it, you can come back and watch Georgia State play football here. They're going to have this as their home field.
Well, it's good they were able to find a use for the ballpark. It, of course, was originally built for the Olympic Games back in 1996. And I know you were taping a pregame show segment with the Governor, Greg Schulte, and the Gov dropped an interesting thing about the age of the ballparks in this league.
Yeah, once Turner Field goes away, Chase Field will be the 4th oldest ballpark, I believe, maybe in all of baseball. I'd have to double check that with the Gov.
Well, the National League, you have Wrigley, obviously, Dodger Stadium, and I believe Coors Field, right? Was built before Chase.
Yeah.
So that's it. Those are the only ballparks in the league older than Chase Field. 3-2 to Beef Wellington. In there for a strike. So here's Brandon Drury, and what a series it's been so far. He homered last night, his 6th of the year. He has doubled twice tonight. Doubles number 8 and 9, 1 for an RBI that gave him the lead. It's our Jimmy John's delivery of the ball game. Scored Castillo, who had walked all the way from first against Bud Norris in the 6th. Mentioned this earlier, but if you're just joining us, no Yasmani Tomas in the lineup again tonight. Chip Hale told us today that Tomas has come up with a stiff neck. They're not sure exactly how or when, but Yasmani was not able to hit yesterday. A little better today. They think they'll be able to get him back in the lineup tomorrow, but that's still a wait and see deal. So Drury out there in left for the 2nd game in a row.
Grilly stands out there on the mound staring down at the dirt as he's getting his mind right before looking in and getting a sign delivering the pitch to home plate. Watch this. Some ants marching down there on the mound or something. He's full attention.
Thank you, Dave Matthews. 2-2. There's a little floater out to right. Brandon Drury's got a 3-hit ball game, a 1-out single.
Somewhat of a moral victory for Jason Grilly. It wasn't a rocket line drive off the wall.
Chris Owings now. You know who does the same thing out there, talking about with Grilly, is Daniel Hudson. He looks off to the side. He doesn't lower his head like that. Huddy looks off somewhere out into space and then turns and glares in for the side. Ball one to Chris Owings. Jason Grilly was lost for the year last July at Coors Field, Colorado, when he blew out his left Achilles while running over to first base trying to cover the bag. Came back and was on his 10th opening day roster, but could not convert his first save opportunity this year. That was April 4th against the Nationals. Finally got his save about 2 weeks later, his first one. A scoreless ninth versus the Marlins. The 75th save of his career, but he's blown a few cents. Two and oh. Chris Owings ahead in the count again. We mentioned this earlier. He is walking a lot more frequently than ever before. His walk rate this year double what it was last year. That strike zone discipline, that pitch recognition has really improved over last season. And as a result, Chris's on base percentage is up over 60 points from last year. Takes that for a strike. 2-1. Bounce to third. Brainiac comes in on the short hop. They get one for the force on Drury, and that's it. Pitcher spot due up now, batting 8th tonight. And here's Phil Gosselin. Phil, 233, acquired from these Braves last year. He's got a home run and had an RBI sac fly as a pinch hitter last night. A really good at bat to drive in a run. That came against Alexei Ugando. 4 for 14 as a pinch hitter this year with a couple of RBIs. He's got Owings at first and 2 outs.
Normally I would say this is a potential stolen base situation for Chris Owings over there at first base with 2 outs in the inning. Try to get into scoring position. But at the same time, if he happens to get thrown out, you basically wasted your pinch hitter Phil Gosselin. So unless he gets to a 2-strike count and CO thinks he can get a big jump over there and Dave McKay maybe has something on Jason Grilly, I don't think he's going to be running.
Braves will have their best hitters up in the 8th inning against Daniel Hudson. Top of the order, Markakis, Inciarte, and Freeman. 3 lefties. Phil Gosselin reaches down and drops it in front of Alex Smith. A 2-out single.
Short, quick swing by Phil Gosselin, what we've grown accustomed to when he gets his opportunities to swing that bat. Drives it into center field. Nice, clean single.
So a chance for Nick Ahmed. Owings at second, Gosselin at first. 2 outs. Nick has struck out, walked, and lined out to right field.
Dbacks have left some runs on the board tonight. Only 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position.
They have stranded 7. They have out-hit the Braves 8-4 and lead at 3-2.
Jason Grilli, how do you know when it's time to look up?
When your mind is right?
Yeah, I mean, what is going through his gray matter? He's standing there staring at the dirt right here. How do you know when it's time to look up and get your sign? Now.
Well, we'll watch Daniel Hudson in the bottom of this inning if Huddy comes in. He kind of does the same thing. Big got at that one from Nick, and it's 2-2. I guess he's just clearing his mind, and when he has that Zen moment and the mind is blank, he looks up. Or he could be thinking about what he's going to eat after the game. Boy, that burgerita looks good. Yeah, the bacon. All right, time to pitch. Full count, 3-2. Segura on deck. He would be next. Runners will be off from their bases. Owings at second, Ahmed at first, or Goslin at first, pardon me. And a 3-2 pitch to Nick Ahmed.
Dbacks hitters have done a nice job working counts tonight. This is the 10th full count in the game. 8 for Teheran, 2 for Grilli.
2 outs, 3 balls, 2 strikes. There go the runners. This is lifted in the air along the right field line. Markakis near foul ground, and he's got just enough room. Bottom 8 in Atlanta on the way. It is still a 3-2 Dbacks lead. Bottom 8 at Turner Field in Atlanta, where the Diamondbacks lead the Braves 3-2. Hey fans, customize your own ticket package with a Dbacks mini plan. It lets you choose from big games, including the upcoming Yankees series or the Dodgers series in June. All-American weekend in July. You can make up your own plan with the Dbacks mini plan and join the evolution. Get your tickets now at Dbacks.com. A little over 22,000 here with us tonight, just like last night. Here is Daniel Hudson. Scoreless baseball in his last 8 appearances. He's out there to face almost the same hitters he faced last night in the 8th inning. A pair of singles to Markakis and Freeman last night, but a huge double play ball to end a potential 8th inning rally. And he'll work to Markakis, Inciarte, and Freeman here. 1, 2, and 3 in the 8th inning for the Braves.
You know, in the past that may have been a little problematic for Daniel Hudson, facing the same guys he saw the day before, but I think the addition of that straight changeup and the improvement in that straight changeup has given him a third weapon to use against opposing hitters.
Last night Markakis singled. Adonis Garcia, who was sent to the minor leagues today, flied out. Freeman singled. And then Kelly Johnson hit into a double play. So here's Markakis, who was 0 for 3. 1 pitch, 1 out. Segura from the outfield grass.
Love retiring that leadoff man at any time, but especially in a 1-run ball game late. You keep that leadoff man off the bases, it really limits what Fredi Gonzalez can do over there as far as bunting or hitting and running, trying to steal a base, anything to try to generate a run. You lose that leadoff hitter, you're pretty much resigned to just swinging the bats the rest of the inning.
Ender Inciarte has struck out, walked, grounded out, 0 for 2. You're thinking, okay, all these left-hand hitters up there, why not go to Andrew Chafin? Well, 2 reasons. 1, Chip likes the way the back end of the bullpen is set up and doesn't like to vary from those roles. Every time he's done that, he's regretted it, and he's admitted that. So he really likes Clippard 7, Hudson 8, Ziegler 9. That's one reason. The other reason is that they really like Huddy here against left-hand hitters because he's got a very good success record against lefties. They have no problems bringing him in, like now, in a 1-run game late to face all lefties. As Ender fights that one off. So Chip Hale really doesn't have to worry about matching up left and right and all that stuff. He's just got Hudson there for the 8th, and they like him against left-handers.
Left-handers only 5 for 20 on the season against Daniel Hudson. How about this, though? Right-handed hitters against Daniel Hudson? Oh, for 25.
He has not given up a hit to a right-hand hitter this year. So when you're perfect against righties and really good against lefties, that's going to work out. Knocks it the other way. A tough short hop for Jake Lamb, who makes a nice play. 2 ground ball outs for Daniel Hudson, 2 down.
We got a good read on this one. Just came from Florida, and I mentioned the name of Perry Hill, their infield instructor. One of the things he preaches is that first bounce, when the ball comes off the bat and hits on the dirt in front of home plate, as an infielder, your first instinct should be to charge. That time Jake Lamb saw that ball bounce out in front of home plate, immediately started to charge and just smothered that ball on a short hop.
And now you see Jake has moved over to stand right in front of the second base umpire, Carlos Torres. The shift is on for Freddie Freeman. And let's go down to Jody. Jody.
Just love the ground balls from Daniel Hudson. And last night, after getting Kelly Johnson to ground into a double play to end the inning, he tweeted out after last night's game, "I'm doing my best Ziggy impression." Talking about Brad Ziegler, of course.
And those ground ball outs late in the ball game. He's got 2 so far tonight. Freeman homered in the first, his 4th of the year. 2-0. Got another lefty on deck, the catcher A.J. Przinsky. Seems like, Bob, that Fredi Gonzalez, who has very little to work with here, is just, he's not worried about 4 lefties in a row. Let's just take whatever good hitters we have, put them up at the top, and hope for the best.
Bunch them up and hope that they can string together some hits and walks and produce some runs.
Because after that, it's Brignac and Ibar and Castro, and a lot of batting averages that start with 0s and 1s. 3 balls and a strike to Freddie Freeman. The hottest hitter in their lineup. He's hit safely in 10 of his last 11 games. There's Freddie Gonzalez, who's feeling the heat. And it was actually Freeman who stood up for the manager. Said, hey, it's not the manager, it's the players. They were talking about Freddie Gonzalez's job status here. And it's a 2-out walk for Freeman. A.J. Pierzynski. Pierzynski came into the game hitting .215. He is 0 for 3 tonight. He has flied out twice and hit into a double play. 22,000 or so. Chopping.
To walk the potential tying run with 2 outs in the inning, but this could be a case of inning management by Daniel Hudson. Freeman, obviously a guy that can hurt you with one swing of the bat. He proved that earlier in the game against Shelby Miller. A.J. Pierzynski, not so much. You make your pitches on him, he's probably not going to hurt you.
Yeah, these are 2 very different hitters, that's for sure. Carves it foul the other way, and they'll keep that shift on. Lamb, the third baseman, behind the bag at second. Segura several steps out into the outfield grass and right. Goldie holding Freeman on the bag at first. And there's a bouncer to Segura. Daniel Hudson comes in again, and once again he does the job. We go to the 9th. It's a 1-run ball game in Atlanta. Diamondbacks have a 3-2 lead in Atlanta. Trying to win their second in a row. And how about this? Watch this. Bartolo Colon off James Shields at Petco Park. And there it goes. You've heard of the Bambino. Check out the Bartolo. And watch this trot, if you want to call it that, around the bases. The dugout, the Met dugout, ecstatic. But here's the money shot right here. Watch this home run slog.
That registered on a seismograph in Southern California.
He's still going.
And look at the dugout. His teammates are all gone. They went up the tunnel.
The ultimate silent treatment. 25 seconds. We timed it around the bases for Bartolo. He almost hit it into the Western Metal Supply Company building.
Estimated at 365 on that home run with a lot of hang time. Not quite Giancarlo Stanton, but a He'll take it.
Got a 97-mile-an-hour fastball from Shields and crushed it. Here's Vizcaíno, who's had a very good year, a 0.87 ERA in 11 appearances. And Gene Segura leads off the Arizona ninth. D-backs lead at 3-2. Segura singled and scored in the third. He's 1 for 4. That was awesome. Up the middle and into center. Another multi-hit game for Gene Segura. Leadoff single. Trying to pad this lead. Diamondbacks had a chance in the 8th inning. Could not get a run across. They had 2 singles against Jason Grilli. And now here's Jake Lamb. Jake has doubled twice tonight, 2 for 4. And he has hit the ball like a rocket every time. Flied out to Markakis in right field in the 5th. Hit the ball really hard. Smashed one to left that should have been a double, but was hit right at Brignac. Shift is on against Lamb. There's a strike, 0-1. It had been slow going at the plate for Jake lately. He was hitting only about a $180 over his previous 13 games, just 1 RBI. But he had only started about half the games over that span, so the biggest obstacle, as we've talked about, is getting him consistent at bats. They'll move Brignac over now with a 1-1 count closer to the second base bag. And so there is no one within even 60, 70 feet of third base. One and two. That's a balk. They have called a balk. Third base umpire Corey Blazer. And first base umpire Rob Drake. So Segura balked to second.
I guess they're saying he didn't come to a complete enough stop out there before delivering that ball to home plate. Vizcaíno sets up very high on his chest with his throwing hand inside the glove. Just kind of glided right into his delivery that time.
1 and 2. A roller to second base for Castro. Segura moves into third, and that's the first out.
Not exactly what Jake Lamb was looking for, but a productive out nonetheless. That ground ball to the right side moves Segura up to third base, where a medium fly ball, something hit hard through the drawn-in infield, will score another run.
Nice insurance run, standing 90 feet away for Goldie, who has struck out twice and walked twice. Infield creeps in for Atlanta. Two more walks for Goldie. That's 13 walks in his last 12 games, counting tonight. But as good as that is, and as wonderful a job as he's doing of laying off those bad pitches and taking his walks and getting on base, it's hurt the production. There's no way around it. He's not getting anything to hit. So you've got the 13 walks in 12 games, but over that span, he is just 6 for 36 at the plate. So that's a dozen games in which Paul has 1 RBI and 1 extra base hit.
I think the thing for me that's most disconcerting, I mean, you love the on-base percentage. You love the fact he's on there for his teammates. That went in the dirt. A.J. Pierzynski. It's just the fact that Goldie hasn't driven the ball the way we've seen. He's gotten his base hits, you know, little humpback line drives over the infield or ground balls that find holes in the infield, but it's been a while since we've seen one of those ringing doubles off the wall or a towering home run.
The number of balls that he has hit this year that get classified as soft contact is more than double what it was last year. And his rate of hard hit balls is at a career low. 3-0. And there's another walk. He's just not getting anything to hit. He's walked 3 times tonight. So a chance for David Peralta. 0 for 4. He struck out twice after having a big night at the plate last night. And 3 hits and RBI, scored twice. Gene Segura down at third, Goldie at first, 1 out. A strike inside, 0-1. Right by him. A reminder, first cup of coffee show of the year debuts tomorrow on Fox Sports Arizona with David Peralta. 1:30 and 10 o'clock only on Fox Sports Arizona, brought to you by CenturyLink. And more shows to follow this year. '99. 1-2. Vizcaíno is the closer here. He's converted 12 of his 14 save opportunities, but one in the 9th. The Braves down a run here. Brad Ziegler, the Diamondback closer, set to go. Brad worked last night, 1 inning, had 1 strikeout through 14 pitches. A strikeout and a couple of fly balls. Not exactly your typical Brad Ziegler experience. Goldie going to sneak up and take second here as it rolls away from Pierzynski. That's a wild pitch charge to Vizcaíno. So now a single will score 2. Strikes out for the 3rd time tonight.
That's almost unfair, throwing your fastball at 99 and then dropping a slider like that on a 2-strike count. Got to get that bat started a little bit earlier as a hitter when a guy's throwing as hard as Vizcaíno, and you really become vulnerable to any off-speed pitch.
2 outs. Wellington Castillo walked and scored in the 6th. He's 0 for 3. Castillo had 2 hits last night, a double and a single. He drove in 2. And both hits came late, 1 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th.
Wellington just caught his breath from scoring from first base on that Brandon Drury double back in the 6th inning.
Scored all the way from first after walking to lead off the inning. 1 of 3 hits tonight for Drury, 2 doubles. That one's a bouncer. Everybody's going to have to stay put. Doesn't roll far enough away from Pierzynski for Segura to come home.
Big base hit here. A couple of insurance runs sure wouldn't hurt anything.
Well, he came through in this exact spot in the 9th inning last night, a 2-run single. Braves in their 9th inning will have Reed Brignac, Eric Ibar, and Daniel Castro due up. 5, 6, and 7 against Brad Ziegler. Not exactly the sharp end of the stick.
No Chipper Jones, no Dale Murphy, no Hank Aaron.
3-0. Although they do have a Chipper Jones bobblehead day coming up.
Oh, they do. Okay.
To commemorate the day that they had a snowstorm here. And Freddie Freeman was stuck in his garage, and Chipper is a big outdoor guy, a hunter and a fisher and all that stuff. He drove over in his camo with his ATV thing. There's, you can see the picture right behind. And rescued Freddie Freeman. Drove him through the snow. And they will commemorate that great moment in Braves history with the bobblehead night coming up later this month. Miss on the 3-0 pitch. There it is. Chipper's got the camo and the ATV. Got to get Freddie to work.
He was an Uber driver before it was popular.
I'll tell you what, it snows in this city. Forget it. Everybody freaks out. They're not used to it. Hard to short. Ibar's got it. Sets and throws. Castillo got it busted up the line, and he's there safely. Segura scores. There's a pad run. It's 4-2. An RBI single for Beef Wellington. A tough play there for Ibar.
He might have been better served trying to get the out there at third base. You see Goldie running right in front of him. A quick sidearm toss on to third. They maybe get the out there. That's a long throw off balance from deep in that hole, and Wellington able to leg it out. Don't say that often.
He's been a base runner tonight. You mentioned how he scored from first on that double back in the 6th. And now here's Drury, who is 3 for 4. 2 doubles and a single. Goldie at third, 2 outs. You know, I'm afraid if he hits one in the gap that Wellington will have to try it again.
He'll call timeout.
He may have to. He might look like Bartolo Colon coming around.
Well, at some point in this at bat, he's going to get an upper 90s fastball. And we know what he usually does with fastballs.
Stay away there at 98. Now 10 hits for the Diamondbacks, only 4 for the Braves. Braves had a 2-0 lead at one point. Freeman had a homer in the first. They had bases loaded, no outs in the second against Shelby Miller. Got only 1 home on a sac fly, and that's been the Atlanta offense. Diamondbacks have answered. 2 in the third, 1 in the 6th. And now 1 more here in the 9th. And if the score holds up, the Braves will be 1-14 at Turner Field this year. Two and two. Pops it up. Second baseman Castro on the outfield grass. Diamondbacks strand 2, but they get 1 insurance run for Brad Ziegler. Bottom 9 on the way. They lead it 4-2. Back in Atlanta, bottom 9 here. Our Gila River game summary. D-backs trailed this one 2-0, but they have answered back 2 in the 3rd, 1 in the 6th, and pad run in the 9th. Big night for Brandon Drury, who has 3 hits, 2 of them doubles. Jake Lamb, 2 doubles as well. And a very encouraging outing for Shelby Miller, who gave up only 4 hits in 6 innings and had 10 ground ball outs.
Really encouraging outing. Now Brad Ziegler will take over, close this one out.
Brad has 5 saves on the season. He comes into tonight having worked scoreless baseball in 10 of his 12 appearances this year and holds a D-backs record string of 33 consecutive saves, the longest active streak in baseball. Now work to Reed Brignac, Eric Ibar, and Daniel Castro, 5, 6, and 7 in the Atlanta 9th. As the Diamondbacks try and make it 2 in a row here at Turner Field. Brignac 2 for 3, a pair of singles. There's a strike on 1. Brignac just called up for the minor leagues this week. He had been down at AAA Gwinnett, where he was hitting about .330. This one is rolled to second for Segura. 1 up, 1 down. Eric Ibar now. Ibar was hit by a pitch. Flied out, grounded out. Jake Lamb creeps in from 3rd. It's
amazing to watch Brad Ziegler come in to close out a ball game and think that there are closers in this game that throw 20 miles an hour faster than he does. There are Aroldis Chapmans and Craig Kimbrells of the world that regularly hit triple digits.
Here comes the guy with an 82-mile-an-hour fastball. Brad says when they put a defense on the field like the one the Diamondbacks have behind him, his goal is to go out there and have an inning with 10 pitches or less. That's his goal. Get in and out in 10 pitches. Use those defenders behind you.
It's a wise plan of attack.
So he doesn't throw 99. He doesn't come in and strike out the side and close out the ball game. But because he's smart and knows that he gets ground ball outs, he's got good defenders behind him. It is, he has said, a sense of relief for him because he knows he doesn't have to do all of it by himself. You got one of these power guys in there, and it's up to him most of the time. He's got a lot of help. There's a broken bat foul ball into the seats. That thing is just shattered. Maybe he does throw 99.
That would split lengthwise. He's got about 6 ounces of bat left in his hand. The barrel split all the way down to the handle and went flying down that first baseline.
You note the location of that pitch right there. When Brad has had a couple of bumps in the road this year, that pitch has been slightly above the knee. When he's on, it's slightly below the knee. Just like that one. What a play! Goldie's got it! America's first baseman takes a base hit away. That was a rocket down there, and Goldie was on it.
Almost in a catcher's crouch before that ball was hit. Just a leap to his right to make that play. Checking the laces on his glove to make sure everything's intact.
Daniel Castro. 2 outs in the 9th. Castro has walked, grounded out, flied out 0 for 2. And he is just 2 for his last 33 at the plate.
Bounced over the mound. Nick Ahmed, a high hopper, and he throws him out. Brad Ziegler, another save, and it's another Dbacks win. 4-2 your final. And they have clinched a series victory here in Atlanta, and they'll go for the sweep with Patrick Corbin on the mound tomorrow afternoon.
Boy, very encouraging ball game tonight on a lot of different fronts, but most notably Shelby Miller following the Zach Greinke strong outing last night. The top of the rotation is starting to round into form.
And another great job by the back end of that Diamondback bullpen. Clippard, Hudson, and Ziegler shut the door. Between the three of them, they allowed just one base runner. Ender Inciarte back, Shelby Miller back in town, and he has